Alrighty, we got Monster Hunter Wilds just bodied the entire industry from ya boy Legendary Drops. Alright, so what's going on with the Mon Wilds?
Monster Hunter Wilds just bodied the entire industry. 8 million copies sold in less than 3 days.
Damn.
I thought it was hard to sell a AAA game nowadays. I thought it was tough out on these streets. It's almost like if you make a good game, people buy it.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know,
that's crazy. That's too crazy, man. You can't be doing that all the time. What else would we have to dance on graves with then? How am I gonna grave dance?
Monster Hunter as a series has only continued to grow, exponentially grow its audience in a way that very few in this industry understand, and I think very few can even try to replicate. We've seen franchise after franchise, studio after studio try to broaden their appeal, widen their audience, only to alienate the core audience that they have. Saints Row, Diablo, Battlefield, Halo, Dragon Age, there's a long list of games that have completely left their audiences behind.
Yup, they tried to cast the big net. They wanted to get the casuals in. But what happened was the casuals kind of showed up, but not really. But also, the hardcore crowd that made them in the first place also left because they felt betrayed from all of those IPs that he just mentioned.
Monster Hunter Wilds is a testament to just giving players what they want. Give them what they're looking for from your games. And while I have my criticisms of Capcom, and you guys will hear that here in a little bit, they are one of the very few publishers in the industry that have continued to grow their franchises and continue to be heavyweight contenders.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough to do. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about the wild success of Monster Hunter Wilds. And I want to talk about the continued success and consistency of Capcom and how it's a lesson and an example that this industry desperately needs to follow. So I just got back from the gym, and lo and behold, on my porch is yet another disc plate because you guys have been enjoying the collaboration and you guys have been supporting it. Well, they keep sending me new stuff, which really works out well for me. And this is a limited edition. You can actually swap out the eyes.
What the fuck?
Pretty cool. We're going to talk about this today. If you guys love collecting cool art, you need to check this out. Displate just dropped something really special, the Lucky Paul's Daruma, a limited edition metal poster that's both interactive and seriously unique. It's based on the traditional Daruma doll, which is all about good luck and achieving your goals. But this is with the...
Oh, is that like a male version of a dream catcher? Or like a man version of the magic crystals that people hang on, or that the girls hang in their entire house?
Fun twist. It comes with magnetic eyes that you can place yourself. Put one in when you set a goal and a second when you achieve it. This thing isn't just a poster. It's got 3D texture, selective matte and gloss varnish, and a bold red color that really pops. But here's the deal. There are only 700 of these available, and once they sell out, they're gone for good. And if the Daruma isn't quite your thing, no worries. Displate has tons of other limited edition posters, each with their own unique designs and premium finishes. These things sell out fast, so if you see one you like, don't sleep on it. And of course, if you just want to browse, Display has over 2 million designs, from Texture's 3D textured posters to their standard disc plates featuring your favorite games, movie, anime, and art. There's likely something for everyone. Don't wait. The Lucky Paul's Daruma is available now, but only 700 copies exist. Click the link in the description below or go to displate.com and use my code LEGENDARY at checkout to get the best deal. Make sure you grab one of these before they're gone. Thank you to Displate for sponsoring this video. Monster Hunter Wild...
Bro, if I won like the lottery, I would go out and buy like every single disc plate that I liked, because I like all of those, like most of those things, like all those little images and IPs and whatnot. Ugh, that's just like awesome to me.
Wilds didn't just drop, it stomped the industry into the ground. Less than 9 hours after it launched, it had already reached over 1 million concurrent players on Steam.
In 9 hours, these guys overtook Counter-Strike 2. All right, let's just double check real quick. What is it? It's Saturday. Steam charts. Monster Hunter Wild. Over 1 million. Oh, 600,000 right now. Okay, not too bad. Oh shit, the casuals are catching up. Oh shit. Where is let me see. Let's go back one. Steam charts. Uh concurrent players are actually what's being played right now? Counter-Strike. Oh, 1.3. Oh, Monster Hunter Wilds. Number 2 spot. Oh. Power. That's power. Oh wait, peak players. Oh, okay. Dota, PUBG, Rust, Marvel Rival's still in there, alive and kicking still. All right, good for them. Why the fuck is Banana on top 10? Fuck you guys. Like, these things will never be worth, those stickers will never be worth a damn. Stop it.
Peaking at 1.3 concurrent players the very next day, all the while helping Steam to break over 40 million concurrent players.
Oh shit. Avowed his number one.
2 days later, Capcom hit us with the numbers. 8 million copies sold in less than 3 days, becoming Capcom's most successful title to date. To call that success would be underselling it. This game is a juggernaut. Heck, it's got games journalists out here writing guides instead of out-of-pocket criticism. So
oh shit, the game journalist going back to the roots and making the guides? Bro, that's gotta be a good game if you got the game journalist making guides instead of like hit pieces. Shit.
Give it time, I'm sure we'll see some of that nonsense soon enough.
Oh,
Coming
yeah.
off of a crazy 2024 where both Pal World and Black Myth Wukong smashed through 2 million concurrent players on Steam,
the doo-doo monkey
thought that those numbers were anomalies, flukes that wouldn't be repeated. We're used to seeing breakout successes topping out at around 200 to 500,000 concurrent players on Steam, but this is a pattern now.
Which ain't bad.
Certain titles delivering very specific experiences are showing just how wide of a reach games can have and what AAA games can truly achieve. That said, Monster Hunter Wilds could have gone even harder if Capcom hadn't shot themselves in the foot with the game's optimization. Let's be real, if this...
yeah, the optimization. Like, I play the game, I, like, put everything on, like, mid to, like, lowish, some things. Like, I turned off or down or whatever. But I think the game still runs fine. But I guess everyone else is, like, bitch mode complaining that they can't even play the game. Which sucks. And, you know, no game is above reproach, even the optimization of the game. So hopefully they come out with like a patch or like an update or something to help that along.
This game wasn't struggling on mid-range hardware, it'd probably be sitting well over 2 million concurrent players right now. And
yeah,
honestly, the Steam reviews that are dragging the game for its performance are completely justified. There is no excuse for
100%.
a flagship Capcom title to launch like this.
Yep.
Not when it's one of the biggest IPs in gaming, not when it's one of the games that is supposed to be a milestone moment for this company.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're charging full price, this game needs to run properly at launch. Simple as that. Capcom pulled the exact same thing last year. This is all for shareholders because their fiscal year ends March 31st, and they want to just get the game out to appease their shareholders and meet their financial targets. And both the customer and the game are suffering as a result. I wish that these companies would wake up and realize that long-term profits outweigh immediate gains. And if Capcom...
I mean, I don't think they'll ever sway towards that or make like conscious decisions to just enable the developers to make that type of game where the game plays like perfectly on day one. And there's like almost no issues, especially around like optimization and whatnot. There have probably been like a couple games that have come out with pretty good optimization on day one, but that's like too few and far between. As far as like trying to convince investors to delay, like, would everybody have been fine if this game got delayed for however many months or whatever in order for it to come out in a more polished version? I think that would be a good question to ask everybody.
Properly optimize this game, they would be making a lot more money. I've had zero issues with the game personally, but I'm playing on a 40.
Oh yeah, because they can't even see the losses that everyone's talking about. Oh, theoretical taxes on theoretical losses and shit like that. It's like, bro, these guys are making away like bandits right now with this like colossal a big money goose that this thing is. But what they can't see is like it could have been bigger. They can't see that. Like um what statistic, what analytical thingy would you pull to say that, hey, if you guys delayed this game, maybe optimized it better, you'd be making even more money than you would be? I mean, what statistical stat?
90, so my experience means nothing in this conversation. I feel for the players who physically cannot play the game. And I
Yeah,
feel even
that
worse
sucks.
knowing that there are a lot of people that are out there that aren't even going to get the chance to experience how insanely good this game is. Because, man, is this game good?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is about Monster Hunter, but it taps into something primal, like instinctive. It's like Capcom boiled down the essence of what makes video games fun and just delivered it straight into your bloodstream. The
Yeah.
same way that side-scrolling Mario just keeps you hooked with a simple loop of just keep moving forward,
Yeah.
Monster Hunter does that with bigger monsters, crazier
It just keeps swinging. It'll die eventually.
fights, and higher stakes every step of the way. It's Boss Fight the video game. No filler,
Yeah.
no waiting around, just pure unfiltered gameplay. It's like no dinner, straight to dessert. Every fight delivers, every hunt adds to the spectacle, and before you know it, you're hooked. I'm sitting here, I'm writing this down, and all I want to do is go back to playing more of the game.
Yeah.
And what makes Monster Hunter Wild so special is just how fluid everything is now. The game does not waste your time. There's no pointless downtime between fights. Everything about the way that you travel, take on quests, and fight monsters has been designed around just keeping you engaged at all times.
I mean, because initially the whole monster hunting experience was designed around that sentence or that phrase, have a monster hunter experience. You know, think about all the logistical things that you have to do before you can even hunt a monster. You need to have like some armor, some weapon. You need to have like the proper resources. You have to go prepare, collect stuff. You have to go collect buffs potentially. You have to, go track the monster down, but that's been trivialized by scout flies. And I know they brought the little paintball back, but I honestly, I'm like chilling at like what HR 39ish, and I still haven't even used the paintball once. I don't know what the hell that thing does. But with the advent of the scout flies, this thing has, you don't really need to track monsters down. It's not so much a monster hunter as it is. I mean, the monsters already like lit up for you. It has like a little circle, whereas like in World, you at least had to like reach some sort of like level in your little manual to like go track down the tracks. Okay, there's some scratches and stuff. There's some broken smudge on the wall or something. It's like, okay, all that you get like X amount of that, and all of a sudden, oh, the scout flies picked up the scent, and then woo, and then you got to go actually hunt the monster, not just fight the monster. But that's fine. I think that's like a fair little sacrifice in order to have like a more streamlined experience for everybody. But then what do you do after you get done fighting the monster? You harvest the parts and you go make weapons to do the whole thing over again.
Pop-up camps mean you don't need to constantly return to town. Mounting lets you sharpen your weapon, heal, reapply buffs, and get right back into combat instead of awkwardly trying to run around. Hell, even when a monster runs away mid-fight, your mount will just automatically start tracking them, giving you enough breathing room to be able to manage your resources before jumping right back in. I think this is what has frustrated me so much lately with a lot of other modern games. There are so many of them that are going out of their way to slow you down, force platform.
Oh yeah, 100% agree. Every other live service game, every other, well, not live service, but like every other like non-competitive game, like looter shooter, ARPG, regular RPG, the whole concept of the live service version of that game is take the final product and put as many speed bumps and hurdles between the actual end game and like the beginning for the player. Have that player jump over hurdles, have that player slow down for speed bumps, have that player dodge and weave around random bullshit just to accumulate the same stats that if otherwise, to look back 10, 15 years ago and you play like a similar game of the similar genre, You could get to that max level power in that game in like 10-15 hours, where a live service game, it's like, oh, you want that same power that you had 15-20 years ago? Well, you have to invest like exponentially way more time. Why? Because we need statistics, we need metrics, we need player engagement, engagement-based matchmaking, all this other bullshit. It's horrible. It sucks. It's stupid. It's retarded. Yeah.
Forming sections in an action game, unskippable cutscenes with meaningless dialogue, pointless gear checks that block progression, busy work quests that make you run back and forth between NPCs, even Path of Exile 2, a game that I love, falls into that trap.
Yep.
Kill all these elites before you can progress.
Yep.
Why? Just let me play the damn game. Engage me. Compel me to play. Monster Hunter doesn't do any of that. Every main story quest throws you straight into a new monster fight or gives you a meaningful reason to do something.
And since you brought up PoE, you could probably simply copy paste any one of the monsters from like, well, any Monster Hunter game, put it in as like a big ass boss in Path of Exile, and most people probably wouldn't even know the difference. The every single monster is like that good.
Even the fetch quests they have in this game are actually rewarding. Go catch one fish, go trap one animal, and boom, there's a new fishing lure, cooking ingredients, or crafting materials. This game respects your time and gives you something in return. The other day, I was getting ready to go to a hockey game, and instinctively, because it's coded into my gamer DNA now, I started a main story quest, figuring that it would just be another conversation, completely forgetting that this game has yet to have a quest like that. And 2 minutes later, right after a cutscene, bam, I'm in another monster fight. As I carve the beast that I just slain, another cutscene plays, and I'm fighting another enemy.
Yeah.
This game's pace is unrelenting.
It's
that
breakneck.
pace and fluidity extends the combat, which feels 20 times faster than any.
And then all of a sudden, he looked up a couple hours later, and then, dang, I missed that hockey game. Oh well, I guess I'll sit here and play Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter game that I've played before. The new wound system, completely overpowered, by the way, but it adds a whole other layer of strategy, and it keeps the action moving nonstop. Combos are faster, attacks flow better, movement is snappier. I'm maining longsword this time around, and I have now 3 separate ways to keep up my Spirit Blade gauge. I can use my Spirit Blade combo, I can counter an attack, or I can just break a wound. It's just constant, nonstop action, and I love it. And the level design. Oh my god, the level design. I can't tell you guys how many times I would get so frustrated with Monster Hunter World fighting a Raytheon, getting knocked down off the top of treetops onto a lower zone, then taking what felt like an eternity to...
Hey. However, what's the best zone in Monster Hunter World? Everyone gonna say it's Ancient Forest, though. The amount of time and effort they put into the Ancient Forest, unparalleled.
Find my way back to the monster. Wilds is leagues ahead of Monster Hunter World. It feels like they took all of the best lessons that they learned from Rise with simpler layouts and just made a game that just feels so much more natural, so much more readable, and easier to navigate. I'm memorizing areas faster, collecting materials more easily, and using the map rather than actually fighting against it. For me, Monster Hunter Wilds is everything that's good about Monster Hunter polished to a mirror shine. It improves on every aspect of combat, the world design, quest design, and more. While I could criticize the story, I'm not going to, because that's just not what players are coming to this game for. The players know that, Capcom knows that, and we got what we got.
Yeah.
With that said,
like, you're not playing, like he said, you're not playing Monster Hunter for the story. The story is like a side thing. If it's good, great, whatever. But most people just come here for the gameplay.
There is this moment in the main story right after the credits roll, and the game essentially takes you off the leash. I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but it's this obvious nod that basically says, Hunter, it's time to hunt. And it oddly got me right in the feels. I was kind of overwhelmed for a moment because I felt like I'd only gotten a taste, and this was the realization that this is the game that I've waited years for, and it's finally here, and it's time to play. Capcom didn't reinvent the wheel here. They didn't dilute the experience. They doubled down on what makes Monster Hunter great, and they just gave players more of it.
And
surprise, surprise, it worked. God, I love this game. I cannot stop playing it. Whoever wrote that line of For the preservation of this ecosystem, the guild hereby authorizes you to slay. What a bar.
That's a good line.
It's straight out of anime. It gets me every single time.
That's a
Maybe
good
I'm
line.
weird, but it works on me. Now, I don't want to sit here and just glaze the game entirely because there are some things that I have.
Oh yeah, because it's not above reproach. It's not above getting critiqued like the rest of them.
Have some issues with. There's definitely a lack of build diversity in the end game. I'm upset.
Yeah. Everyone is pretty much just playing like raw crit. Like status, I don't even know if status works or if it's bugged. I'm pretty sure like element is bugged. There's a good amount of skills that are just either bugged or not working as intended, whatever.
That Capcom basically boiled it down to 2 armor sets and Ardian weapons more than anything else.
Yeah.
But I know that over time the game's going to get more content. Capcom's pretty relentless when it comes to adding content to Monster.
Hopefully, please God, come up with like a hot fix or like something to just fix all the bugs, please.
Hunter games. But to be honest, man, I'm just having too much fun to actually care because all I wanted was more Monster Hunter, and that's exactly what I got.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lesson in that. I think that that's something that when I start to contrast this game with the rest of the industry, they're finding success because they're just staying true to what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. When I look around at some of these storied franchises, Assassin's Creed is a really good example of this. It used to be a stealth action game. Now it's a stealth RPG, random.
Was it? I don't think it was kind of stealth, but not really. I mean, I played like everything up to so I think I played every Assassin's Creed up to Black Flag. And then I don't remember what was like the Indian bro. That there was like that one where like you're an Indian. And I played that one. Did Black Flag come before or after that one? I don't remember. Regardless, up until that, Assassin's Creed was, I think it was like stealth action, but during the day. It was like crowd mechanics. It was more parkour action. That was the main thing that drove people to play Assassin's Creed. As far as like the action combat went, I mean it's kind of like comparable to like the Batman series. Everyone like is starting to surround you in a circle like a kumite or some shit, and then this guy is gonna come in and you gotta like either like counter him and like come back with an attack or something. But the combat was like very simple. There wasn't a lot of all this bullshit with like armor and rarity and damage. It was just like, okay, you countered him and you insta kill him. All the throwing knives, all insta kills. Throw one throw knife, bang, you're dead. That was a strat in Assassin's Creed. Whenever I was playing the main story, like if you're ever getting chased by a shitload of guards or whatever, you climb up on top of the roof, and they will follow you. And there is like random points where you have to like balance across like a little 2x4 or some shit like that. And then once you get like across, all the other guards take that same path. You just whip out your throw knives and you go bang, insta kill, bang, insta kill. It was the funniest fucking shit, dude. But there was like an aspect of stealth to it, but you could have just as easily watered that down to climb on top of a building, get in a hay pile, wait for the guy to like path around and then yoink him into the hay pile or something like that. Or if you're killing like key targets, like get into like the most precise point, the highest point in around the level, and then once the main character or the main bad guy gets like right underneath you, then you like do that eagle dive and you're like bang, a hidden blade right through the donski. And then that was it pretty much for like as far as like stealth action combat goes. If you want like actual stealth combat, bro, Splinter Cell. I am the biggest Splinter Cell Sam Fisher fanboy. That shit was so good.
Loot mechanics and things like that. things that have nothing to do with the core experience that players expect from that franchise and what they're coming for.
Yeah.
And, how many times have you guys heard over the last few years, well, we're going back to our roots with this game? They've been saying that with Assassin's Creed. They said that with Mirage because they made it a more...
I didn't even pay attention. When, after the... what was his name? Connor? Like the Indian dude? Oh, was it the Indian one? And then the pirate one, I think is how it went. After Black Flag, I was like, it doesn't get better than this. This is peak right here. I realized that this was the best of times at that moment. I'm like, no. How's the saying go? I wish you could realize you're in the good old days when you're actually in the good old days. I actually realized it when I was playing Black Flag on the old Xbox 360. I was like, it's not getting better than this, guys. It's not. And then, they came out with a bunch of other ones afterwards, and I was like, it ain't Black Flag. And then I just quit giving a shit about Assassin's Creed, really.
More compact story, and now they're saying it was Shadows because of the stealth mechanics. Why did you guys leave your roots in the first place? That's what made you successful. That's why Capcom is finding success. They left them because they thought they could find a wider audience that way. They thought that they could make more money. They thought by exploring genres outside of their own, including elements of pop culture, injecting social messaging, or by tailoring the game to audiences that don't play their game, they could make more money.
Oh, yeah.
But Monster Hunter proves that's not necessary. Monster Hunter has quietly become one of the fastest growing franchises in the entire industry. Year after year, iteration after iteration, it has steadily expanded its audience, not through massive overhauls or desperate trend chasing, but through small refinements and organic growth. The series has always been beloved in Japan, but for a long time, it really struggled to find footing in the West. That all changed with Monster Hunter World back in 2018, a game that served as the franchise's true breaking point, pushing it into the mainstream, but it did it while it retained the core of what made Monster Hunter, well, Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
If you look at most modern versions of legacy franchises today, the vast majority of them barely resemble what they once were. So many franchises have strayed so far from their roots that they feel completely disconnected from what made them successful in the first place. The ones that have adapted successfully, Dark Souls, Doom, Zelda, Mario, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, they've evolved, but they've never abandoned their identity. Dark Souls refined its RPG mechanics and combat and world design multiple times through different titles before Elden Ring perfected the formula. Doom brought back its run and gun intensity without becoming a mindless shooter or softening its themes. Resident Evil revitalized itself with Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2 Remake, balancing horror and action in a way that felt true to the franchise. The key to all of these? They changed just enough to stay fresh, but never so much that they lost their essence. Monster Hunter is doing the exact same thing. For years, Monster Hunter was a cult phenomenon in Japan, thriving on handhelds like the PSP and Nintendo DS. The portability of these systems made it a perfect fit for the game's structure. Quick, challenging hunts that you could play on the go with your friends. Net cafes and social gaming events are still incredibly popular there, so Monster Hunter fits really comfortably into that culture. In Japan, Monster Hunter releases have been treated like holidays, with some companies even recognizing a launch day as an unofficial time off event. It's always...
Bro, that's actually pretty cool. Imagine if America adopted some of that shit. It's National Monster Hunter Day. Or... Oh, new game is getting released today in America, guys. Okay, everybody take off. All right, this one's supposed to be a banger. Bro, imagine everybody taking off for Assassin's Creed Shadows, only for everyone to quickly realize how mid of a game it is.
Always been huge there, but it always had remained a regional powerhouse, never really quite breaking through into the international market. The Western market just wasn't ready to embrace its slow, deliberate combat, hardcore mechanics, and sometimes brutal learning curve. But Capcom played the long game. Unlike a lot of other studios that would have tried to fix the game by completely changing it, Capcom just refined and expanded on what already worked. They took inspiration from other Capcom titles like Street Fighter and Devil May Cry, injecting faster and more responsive combat mechanics while keeping the weight and commitment of combat intact. The game remains...
Yeah, don't forget, they wanted to completely take away hit stop. Whenever, you're hitting a great sword TCS and you your character finally comes through with the hit and there's a pause. They wanted to take that away and make the game even quicker than it already is. I'm seeing shit pop up on my YouTube feed of speedrunners getting sub 2 minutes on like the hardest monsters in the game. And I'm like, God dang, you guys, it was supposed to be quicker? Ah.
Remain tactical and deliberate, but over time it became smoother, more fluid, and more intuitive. A lot of the early Monster Hunter titles lacked proper explanations for mechanics. Players were thrown into a world and just expected to figure it out. And
Oh, yeah.
it was part of the appeal for a lot of the die-hard fans, but for new players, it was intimidating as hell, especially with how clunky the combat felt. Over time, Capcom gradually introduced better onboarding, clear UI elements, and actual explanations for how things worked. I don't view this as dumbing the game down, so to say. They just made it easier for players to understand and made the game more comfortable to play. Monster Hunter Freedom Unite was a breakout hit on PSP, introducing deeper combat mechanics and a stronger multiplayer experience that made it a must-have in Japan. Then came Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which experimented with underwater combat and expanded onto home consoles. Monster Hunter...
Bro, look at the fucking gun lands underwater. The underwater explosions. Oh my god.
Hunter 4 pushed mobility even further with climbing mechanics and aerial attacks, making fights feel more dynamic. Then Monster Hunter Generations introduced hunter styles and arts, allowing players to customize their play styles in ways they'd never even seen before. Each step built on the last, fine-tuning the formula.
You know what looks like insanely foreign? Is like all these guys are like landing hits, but you're not seeing any numbers pop up. All you had was that red like a blood splotch to realize, oh, I hit him. And again, you don't see the health bar of the monster. You don't even see if you're doing damage or not. You're just swinging and hoping.
And gradually bringing in more players into the fold. Then came Monster Hunter World, the game where everything just clicked into place. It was the perfect balance of staying true to the franchise's roots while also creating an experience that was more inviting to a global audience.
Yeah. You know, everyone was bitch complaining about the tent makes it way too easy. You have infinite items essentially, because whenever you go out with like your little 10 megapots and then you waste them all because you're just sitting there swinging and you're not dodging, you're not looking at the monster. It's like, oh, the player can just dip out, go back to the tent, restock, and then continue the hunt. Whereas in every other Monster Hunter game up until that point, all you had was what you had. And if you didn't kill the monster, sucks to suck, buddy.
The game ditched the handheld limitations and pushed for the AAA scale environments, and it refined its multiplayer accessibility. The result? Well, it's the best-selling Monster Hunter game of all time.
Yeah.
So far, 44.8 million copies sold across all editions. A complete transformation for the series. World didn't just succeed, it changed the franchise forever. It acted as a force multiplier where every subsequent release after the sale of Monster Hunter World exploded. Monster Hunter Stories, which sold 600,000 copies in 2016, well, its sequel in 2021 hit over 2 million in sales. A spin-off like Monster Hunter Rise hit almost 17 million in sales. Just like how Elden Ring became the most successful Souls game by staying consistent, Wilds is reaching the wildest audience the series has ever seen because they understand what people love about Monster Hunter, and they keep delivering on that. That's why this series has continued to grow. It makes concessions to playability, sure, but only in ways that enhance engagement, never at the...
Very true. I have so many people like at my job that I'm talking about Wilds, and they're listening to me about talking about Wilds, and all of a sudden they're like interested in it. And these are guys that are like used to playing like the sports games with the card packs. They're playing Diablo 4, getting like to like max level in like 15 minutes and like just spamming one button. You know, it's reaching, it's starting to reach like the masses, the casual masses, which is really funny. And I got like another buddy at the job talking about, oh, I just had to check my computer to make sure it's like good enough to play Wilds. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, like that plus on top of whatever hits their, you know, social media feed of like Monster Hunter Wilds is the best fucking Monster Hunter game ever. You know, it only adds to the fire.
Cost of depth. One of the biggest hurdles for Monster Hunter that kept it from being a true mainstream hit for years was just sheer inconvenience. For new players, the game just felt too stiff, too demanding, and too punishing. Things like awkwardly trying to dodge around an enemy so that you can sharpen your weapon mid-fight, unintuitive movement and terrible controls, and clunky multiplayer restrictions that just pushed a lot of players and potential
Yeah.
fans away.
Yeah, I mean, in World, you know, having to not being able to, what is it, like allow someone to come in and help you until you see like the monster intro, the cutscene, and all that jazz. It's like, God, Jesus, come on, guys. Like the non-skippable cutscenes. Like it's 2025 and we still have unskippable cutscene, guys. Can we like get with the times, please?
Including myself. I tried the game for the first time many years ago back on Nintendo DS, and I was filtered by a Kulu Yaku egg carrying quest.
No way. That was the filter? The Kulu Yaku egg carrying? No, there were a couple like egg transport things, but, and I think, well, were you like fighting a Kulu Yaku? Like the little bird that picked up the rock, and like you try to hit him in the chest, like you just hit the rock and your shit just bounces off. That's funny. I don't remember what my filter is, or was. I did have one. But I distinctly remember, not too long ago, very embarrassingly, you know these little headset earbud things is a very expensive. Uh, I tried to fight Raging Bracky as SNS, and I think I gave it like 15 tries. So I just because like I was trying to do it solo. Yeah, I got so pissed I ripped out the earbuds, thinking that the earbuds are just gonna fly out. Nope. Yep, these things just completely tore the wire off of the plastic, and I had some broken ass earbuds. And not only was I pissed because I couldn't beat Raging Bracky solo, I was also pissed because I just fucked up my really nice earbuds. So we all have like some embarrassing heated gamer moments.
While many veterans have thrived on these mechanics, the general audience has only experienced frustration. With Wilds, Capcom just smoothed out the edges. Combat still remains deliberate and positional, but players have a little bit more flexibility. You still need to know when to commit to an attack, but you have better tools to adapt. Running away to sharpen your weapon, well, that's been streamlined. Now you can do that while you're mounted. Multiplayer, no need for awkward cutscene restrictions before being able to invite a friend to a hunt. Every iteration of the franchise has made small, incremental quality of life improvements, all without losing what makes Monster Hunter Monster Hunter. And that's why Wilds is doing so well. It's the result of decades of refinement and not trying to desperately try to invent the wheel. It respects its history, its fans, and more importantly, its own identity. Now, while I've seen some people complaining that Monster Hunter Wilds is leaning too hard in the casual direction, that it's too easy in comparison.
Yeah, I hear the same thing, but that's from like the top like 1% of people that are speedrunning the game, and nobody cares really about what the top 1% is. Yes, they can like unveil some issues and some problems, but for the most part, like the general kill times, I think they're fine. Anywhere like yes, you get like a whole 50 minutes or something like that to kill a monster, but I like there's so far few and in between people that are actually like failing a quest because they just timed out the monster. But like yeah, like I just said, I'm seeing like the tippity top speed runners like get like sub 2 minutes on some monsters and shit. And but that's like, I mean, but to be fair, I got no idea if those people are using cheats. I got no idea if those people are using things to like force certain buffs or certain AI monster patterns. That is a thing in Monster Hunter, if you could believe it. Why would in God's name would you ever download cheats for a single player game? I mean, it's like it is multiplayer. It's like diet multiplayer. It's like diet MMO-esque. But hey, do not put it past people. As long as there's a leaderboard, as long as there's money to be made off of speedruns and making YouTube videos of like, oh, I'm the best hunter. I hunted this guy super fast. This is my build, blah, blah, blah. As long as there's money to be made, there will be cheaters. All right, do not put that past people by any means.
Comparison to some of the other titles, I think that some of that just comes from, well, being experienced and familiar with the game, understanding its mechanics and combat in a way that very few people do. Friends of mine that are playing the game for the first time, they're getting filtered. They're having a hard time.
Yeah.
They're SOS flaring any chance that they get and trying to get as much assistance as they can, but they're having a great time playing it. These are people that have been historically critical of this series and never wanted to touch it, that are playing it for the first time and are loving it. That's exactly what you want to see. You know, one of the things that I was thinking about, because I was talking to one of my friends, was I'm like, think about how big of an impact it has being a player that's played this franchise in the past, and you understand how to counteract certain elements. You understand how to stack certain items like Mighty Pill and Demon Drug and Demon Powder and things like that. A lot of other players aren't going to know those things.
No, they don't even know how to craft. They don't know nothing about nothing. They don't know dick about ass. They don't know about the wall run attack. They don't know about the jump attack. They don't know about spamming, like the jump off the cliff attack. What else? They don't know about the sliding attack. What else? They don't know about, like, sometimes they don't even know how to, like, counter. Like, I'm trying to teach my buddy, like, how to play, like, longsword, and I don't even play longsword. I'm just going off of whatever I see other people doing. It's like, are you countering? Are you helmbreakering? Are you following up the helmbreaker? And meanwhile, the two buddies that I'm talking about longsword with, they're like, oh, I don't never parry. I don't know ever counter. I don't ever helmbreaker. I'm like, guys, that's like a really fun aspect of that weapon. You should really take advantage of that. Okay, so it's even hard for people to fully understand what their weapon is capable of.
Gives you a very massive advantage in a lot of these fights. Well, I know that veterans and purists are going to have their differences. There's going to be some people that are definitely going to criticize what my opinion is on this, but I think that Monster Hunter, its core experience, remains intact in a way that very few franchises can pull off. They're giving players more options rather than just taking things away from them. And I think that's what really makes the biggest difference here, because the players have a choice. Calico's too strong, leave it at home. Mounting cheapens combat, don't mount while you're in combat.
Okay, so this is something I have seen, but I have wrestled around in my head for like the last week or so. Everyone's over here bitch mode complaining about, oh, the game too easy. I got all the end game gear and the game too easy. Well, hey there, brother. How about make the game harder? All right, remember World of Warcraft? They figured out a way to make that game harder. It's called One Life. It's called a hardcore World of Warcraft. Okay, how about instead of using the rarity 9 weapons, instead of using the rarity 9 armor, how about bump the rarities down and see how fast you can kill the monster? Make up a whole new fucking speedrun category and see how good you are. Buster, do like speedrun tempered arcveld, like rare, pick some fucking arbitrary rarity, rarity 5 speedrun, tempered arcveld. Okay, bang, let's go. And then you, like, the cap on stuff that you can use is like armor rarity 5, weapon rarity 5, and then whatever decos or something. Or maybe you could even only use low rank armor and weapons and whatever decos. Okay, make the game harder. That is the beauty of not having like an official like leaderboard and having like a community driven difficulty. All right, why do you think the speedrunning community still exists today? It's because like within the speedrunning community of any single game, there's multiple categories in a given game. There's like what is it? There's like 100%. There's 100% or main mission. There's like 100% all side quests. There's like this version, but like you can't use this glitch. You can't use that workaround or whatever. Figure it out. Make the game harder. All right, everyone's over here like bitch mode complaining. It's like, oh, I'm using the best weapons, the best armor, the best build, the most damage, and I'm so unhappy because the monster die in less than 2 minutes. Okay, well, use a different weapon. Use a worse weapon. Use worse armor. Do a no deco speed run. Figure it out, guys.
The wound system's overpowered, but, well, yes, it does add a lot more flexibility and makes combat a
Well, I was gonna say don't do like a no wound pop or run, but I don't think that's possible. But
of a lot more dynamic and much more forgiving in a lot of cases. When you see some of these veteran players using it, they look like.
I mean, I've already seen speed runs where it's like, speed run tempered Gormagala, and it's like no rocks. You're already like hindering. You're already like adding these categories. Just take it a step further. All right, you need a little more push.
Look like Virgil from Devil May Cry 5. That has to feel good.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that doesn't feel good.
Oh yeah.
They just give you more tools, and it's your choice to engage with it. And I think that's the essence of how some of these long-standing franchises can continue to find success. More tools, less friction. Let the players define their experience. Never forget what you are. Those are the keys here. You know, when I look at a lot of other franchises, it's clear that they've forgotten and they don't care. They don't trust the players to give them more tools. They don't think that they can handle those kind of things.
Yeah, because the devs still think they're making games for like little 12-year-olds. Meanwhile, all us like mid 30-year-olds are still playing the damn games. 30, 40, even 50-year-olds playing the games. Motherfucker, you're like 20-something making video games for like a 50-year-old. Okay?
Instead of letting players define their experience, they want to define that experience for them, limit their expression, dictate how they play games. That's not working. Now, while I'm sure I'm going to have some people disagree with me because I know that veterans of any franchise are going to have their own shade of criticism, it's not uncommon for us players to want to harken back to the old days. Don't recite to me the ancient texts. I was there when they were written. But the heart of Monster Hunter is very much still intact. The same cannot be said for a lot of other games in this industry. Too many studios don't just change. They lose their identity entirely, warping their franchises into something almost unrecognizable, either through trend chasing, misguided ideology, or a growing obsession with dictating how players experience games. Look at Diablo, World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Dragon Age, Battlefield. These aren't franchises that evolve. These are franchises that compromise themselves.
Yeah.
And every time they want to fix the damage, they say the same thing. We're going back to our roots. But the problem is they don't even know what that means anymore.
Nope.
They've spent so much time stripping away what's unique about their games from their foundation that they have nothing to go back to.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the Diablo is probably the best example of this because, well, not only is Diablo what actually started this channel, but it's a franchise that I grew up on. Diablo 2 wasn't just a great game, it was a definitive game. It had some of the hardest hitting narratives and cutscenes in the industry, insane build diversity, and challenging, rewarding gameplay that gave players full control over their experience. Diablo 3, by comparison, was practically Gauntlet Arcade, and while I love Gauntlet, that's not what Diablo was supposed to be. Tell me, why is it that for so many studios, reaching a wider audience is somehow translated into social political messaging, child-proofing their narrative?
Because they're not good storytellers to begin with. That's it. They're not good at their job. They're just making it up.
Shoehorning mechanics in that do not belong, turning action games into RPGs and immersive RPGs into action games, or just straight up dumbing down the experience because they don't think their audience is smart enough to handle it. Like, sure, Diablo 3 sold well, so did Diablo 4, but when you actually look at how the fan base feels, it's almost entirely criticism. They're not delivering what players want, and the proof of that is in their low engagement. Notice how Blizzard is dead.
Well, no. Well, yes and no. They had to make up random new metrics of engagement to balloon and fluff up the whole engagement metric. There are other metrics on like subcategories of metrics besides the engagement metrics. So like there's like the overall circle of engagement, and whenever they talk to their shareholders, they specifically use that terminology of we had a green up arrow plus up stonks of engagement. Meanwhile, underneath it, there are is like a laundry list of other things that make up that engagement number.
silent on the sales of their latest expansion. That's not normal. Historically, they've had no problem shouting out their victories, but they...
What's that one saying about lying? There's 3 types of lies. There's lies, damned lies, and statistics. The engagement metrics falls under the category of statistics.
They know that they can't keep players invested because it's not sustainable to constantly move away from what made your game unique. And we've seen this pattern echo across the industry itself. World of Warcraft went from being an MMO about brotherhood, loss, player-driven choice where community actually mattered to a game
and war. It's in the name of the title. War. What the fuck is this? Is this like Rainbow Brady Bunch?
About friendship and rainbows, quick matching players with no interaction, bloated grinds, and shallow engagement loops that feel more like a second job than actual progression. Call of Duty keeps layering on more and more surface level mechanics, yet somehow loses precise.
I think Call of Duty is starting to be more Fortnite than Fortnite.
Skill-driven gunplay, the thing that actually made this the king.
But there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in here now. Oh my god, that's crazy, dude. Now you can have like who was the orange one? Michelangelo shoot Nicki Minaj or do like a stealth action kill like Kevin Durant or whatever.
Of FPS games. All the while they're stuffing a mature themed game with,
or have like Cheech and Chong just like completely snipe, I don't know, name a fucking ridiculous character. Snipe Donatello.
Music, Hollywood, and Ninja Turtle crossovers. Battlefield 2042 launched with no meaningful squad play or a class system.
Hey, let's not talk about Battlefield 2042. That game is dead and gone. That shit is in the dirt. Let me see. Let me see how right am I. Steam charts. Battlefield 2040 dose. Under or over 5,000. I'm saying under. Oh, I lost. Over 5,000. Oh. Shit. Dang. Playing 11 minutes ago, 6K. 24-hour peak, 7K. Dang. Hey, and you can go buy Wicked. Why the fuck am I seeing ads? Is my ad blocker off? 2 ads right here. What is this? Fuck me, dude.
The 2 things that made Battlefield what it was.
Pizza gun.
Dragon Age abandoned deep player-driven role-playing in favor of cinematic, streamlined storytelling and progressive social messaging. They stripped out any of the strategic combat, tactical depth, and character progression and just made it a generic action game. For what? All this comes down to the same issue, trust and identity. Studios just don't trust players to engage with their games as they are. They think that players are incapable of appreciating a challenge, depth, or nuance. So they try to force on these unnecessary changes to fix things that aren't broken. And the result is a game that just doesn't appeal to anyone. Too watered down for longtime fans and too unfocused for new players. And of course, it doesn't help that the media just keeps egging this all on. Players complain about a lack of interactivity in Avowed and how bare bones the experience feels. PC Gamer goes out and writes an article.
What is this? I don't care about being able to kill everybody and steal the mayor's pants in an RPG like Avowed. And I'm tired of pretending it's mandatory. You don't have to be Skyrim to be good. When you purchase through links on our site, we may earn... okay, whatever. It's comparable to Skyrim, but Skyrim came out... What was the release date of Skyrim? Release date of Skyrim. Joke's on me. Skyrim just got released on a new thing a year ago. 2011. Now let's do some napkin math. Bop. 2025 minus 2011. 14 years ago. 14 years of difference Avowed Skyrim, and the game took features away. How are you going to make a lesser game 14 years later?
Dismissing their criticism entirely, hyperbolically reframing the player's concerns so they can smugly write, I don't care about being able to kill everyone. And
I mean, that's fine if you don't care. It's your money. You can do with it whatever you want. Steam charge Avowed. But I guess you're in good company with other people that don't care about those opinions either. The numbers don't lie, my friend.
steal the mayor's pants in an RPG like Avowed, and I'm tired of pretending like it's mandatory. So now, instead of developers taking valuable feedback to improve their game, they're being encouraged to challenge themselves less and lower the bar, all in the name of progress. And of course,
well, what I think is happening is everyone is literally just waiting for AI to progress, like maybe Unreal Engine 6 or 7 or whatever, until AI can just make a game. And so all the game devs can just do like type in like a little 5-sentence paragraph and make like Skyrim 6 or whatever, and be like, oh, look how awesome our game is, guys. We're like geniuses. We're like literal Beethoven of video games, guys. That's what they're all waiting for.
Of course, this extends to Monster Hunter 2. I just started playing Monster Hunter Wilds, and this health bar mod might be the first one I install. Over 80,000 monsters.
You're not supposed to see the monster's health.
Monster Hunter Wilds players want to see health bars. Ah, yes, 80,000 out of the 8 million players that bought the game. Let's celebrate the literal 1% and ignore the 99 others that love the game as it is. This is
guys. Apparently, you're new to the game. That's okay. It's okay to have critiques. But you're not getting a health bar. Number one, you wouldn't even look at it because you're too busy spamming Y or triangle or B to not even dodge the monster's attacks to begin with. So if you can't even dodge a monster's attacks, what makes you think you can stare at a health bar and watch it, like literally, like even if you were to get a health bar, what do you want to see? Like a pixel get shaved off every time? That's what you would see. You're not going to see this health bar getting chunked down like fucking Diablo. Oh, it'll get chunked down when he gets trapped under my rocks for like the 8th time in a hunt. This game is not about chunking health bars. It's about reading the monster's moves and winning by attrition.
Exactly how franchises get chipped away at. It starts as a helpful mod, then becomes a demand to make it official, and then eventually the entire philosophy of a game changes because certain people can't be bothered to learn how to play it. This is why the gaming industry keeps failing to grow its audiences properly, because they're not building on what makes their games great, they're tearing them down. And then they wonder why Monster Hunter, a game that stays true to its identity, is outselling them all. I know that I'm not alone in feeling that some of our favorite franchises have just compromised too much over the years. They've changed far too much. Yes, you have to adapt. You got to be flexible. And sometimes that means losing some of your unique flavoring so that you can be a little bit more palatable to a wider audience. But I think that in a lot of cases, these games have just sacrificed too much. They've lost too much. And as a result, they can't go back.
Yeah.
You know, Monster Hunter is one of the very few franchises in this industry that I can point at that isn't a Nintendo title and say anyone of any age can enjoy this game. And they've made it that way. But it's still the exact same game, at least from my perspective, that it's always been over the years. And I think a lot of that is just coming down to the fact of how the game plays. It's so focused on gameplay. It's like the only thing that these guys care about. You can tell that's the case because look at the story. Look at some of the other side mechanics. Everything is just a vehicle to get you to go right back into combat again, because that's where this game shines. And if you're doing that the most out of anything else, well, all you're going to do is just want to play more of the game the more you play it. And that's how it ends up working out. At least that's my experience. I think a lot of games have gotten away from that. You know, while I was playing Monster Hunter, I was sitting back and thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, most of the things that we complain about games today don't actually have anything to do with the actual playing of the game, how it feels, how the control.
Well, that's your issue right there. You're using a controller. This thing is clearly the inferior input. All right, the superior input is right here in my hand, not your hand, brother.
Controls are and things of that nature. It's always performance, or maybe it's some type of social political messaging, or whatever it might be, or how much they've moved away from certain things that we enjoyed in the game before and removed certain mechanics and stuff like that. But with Monster Hunter, there's just such a focus on how the game plays that I think that's the real key to its success more than anything else. And
Well, I think also it's a very immersive game. There's not a lot of political bullshit in the game. You're not really taken out of your immersion for the most part. Uh, it's so easy to just sidetrack in the game of like going back to base camp, talking to some people. Ooh, let me go trade some items. Let me go see what new thing I can make. Maybe I can upgrade. Ooh, there's an optional quest. Ooh, there's a side quest. Ooh, I'm low on this item. Let me go out and farm some stuff. While I'm out farming some stuff, ooh, I found a camp. Ooh, let me figure out how to use this item. Let me start grappling and farming and getting all these like little other random items. Let me learn about the crafting system. What else? There's just a ton of like just do a little bit of tourism in the game, and you will find a actual shitload of like just weird, funny, like animations in it. I think there was like one time, like I was messing around in a jungle area, and there's like a area where there's like a bunch of little Venus flytraps, and I'm just like looking around, not knowing nothing, and then all of a sudden, there's like those little tiny, cute little catbird things on like that just lands in a fly trap, and I'm like, oh, let me whip out my net, and I'm about to cap this motherfucker. Okay, so I'm like putzing around with the controls, and I get it out, but then all of a sudden, the Venus flytrap closes on the thing, and I'm like, oh, that's actually a thing. That was so cool. Oh my god, yeah, like there's a ton of just random interactions in the environment if you just go out there and just look and see what they've done. But like, I don't think gamers have that type of like immersive mindset, explorative mindset really like baked into them, or maybe it was like torn out of them over like many years. But people do. I don't think they just go around and like do the tourist thing and just like look around as much.
how does that get lost? Where does that get lost along the way? Where does the playability and enjoyability of a game become a secondary trait of the game? How does that get lost? I just don't understand it.
Because money. Because the game devs, well, not the game devs, but like the shareholders have a fiduciary responsibility of the accountants, and how the checking account and the savings account work is like you got to get like a Roth IRA, and then the fiduciary responsibility to get the most money in the quarter.
The only thing that I can think about is talent leaving. Because over the years, talent leaves, they go somewhere else, they work at another studio, they go start their own studio or whatever it might be. Maybe there's layoffs or whatever. And then I start thinking about it further, and these Eastern studios, they keep their employees. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like Japan specifically, these people are stuck to their jobs. They don't go anywhere else. And if they do go somewhere else, it's big news. It's headline news. I remember when the guy that was part of Capcom, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. He was the combat director for Devil May Cry 5.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
went to go to work at Square Enix, and he worked on Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
That was on news headlines, like paper headlines in Tokyo.
That's crazy.
It's a big deal for them. People leaving their job and going somewhere else is a big deal. There's probably something to that, because that's not the same in the West. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh no, in the West, you are literally a brick in the wall, my friend. You are a brick in the wall. You are not a unique snowflake.
Oh, I might have to look into that. Anyway, I need to play more Monster Hunter. I'm
Same.
getting impatient. I can't
Same.
believe I took the time to make a video. How dare you guys make me do this? I hope you guys enjoyed it. You better. Thanks for watching. Follow the channel, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, like video, comment, follow Twitch. See you guys next time. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. Peace.
Woo!
Family, 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 family.
Dang, another banger from yo boy Lego Drops. Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds is a goated. I haven't even reached the end game yet. It's awesome. I'm gonna go play. All right, great video. Keep it up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.